The war in Ukraine rages on. And what does Joe Biden do? What can he do? What has he shown us so far? He's hapless. He's a bystander. He's done too little, too late, and tried to explain his case at the State of the Union. It did nothing. It did not move the needle. So what are his options right now? Blame Trump. Again, blame Trump. He must be responsible. Not enough, though. He always blames Trump for everything. How about this? Blame Trump supporters and blame the insurrectionists of January 6th. He's actually trying this out. He's got to do something, especially when everybody knows that this would not be happening if President Trump were still in office. So, yeah, he's actually trying this out. And I have a feeling he might even have some misgivings about it because he takes a big pause before he lets it rip. Take a look.
Vladimir Putin was counting on being able to split up the United States. Look, how would you feel if you saw crowds storm and break down the doors of the British Parliament, kill 5 cops, injure 145?
Oh, I get it. Sure. The country right next door would invade. No questions. Absolutely. Invasion. More.
Or the German Bundestag, or the Italian Parliament. I think you'd wonder, well, that's what the rest of the world saw. It's not who we are. And now we're proving, under pressure, that we are not that country. We're united.
All right. So the rationale here, his reasoning, Putin saw the horns guy and said, now is the time I take Ukraine. He saw good old Big O with his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. And yes, I've wanted Ukraine for decades, but now is the time. I don't think so. These guys had nothing to do with it, Joe Biden. Nothing to do with it. You know what prompted the war? I believe your weakness, and maybe the weakness that has been demonstrated and celebrated by your party, like this, the burning down of a police department. How about this? Looting everywhere that was sanctioned essentially by your party. How about, yes, firebombs flying all over the place, and the smash and grab robberies that you refuse to take any meaningful action to stop. We all saw, you celebrated Black Lives Matter summer. Most normal people were terrified. Shootouts in city streets in broad daylight. You didn't mention a word about crime the other night. All right, folks, let's put that aside for a moment. I don't think this is this is part of what motivated Vladimir Putin, perhaps, but this is what made the real difference. Are you ready? Our loss in Afghanistan, of course, Putin was watching that. This led to our diminished status, power, strength. And Joe Biden, you personally, you do not seem strong. You do not seem moderately strong. You seem weak. That's a big part of this. And it's a very logical conclusion. And then, of course, your own words, your own actions, what you said out loud. Yes, the border, you can't control your own country. This whole picture makes us more vulnerable. But again, you said it out loud. This was a green light. You gave the green light to Putin.
I'm not so sure he is certain what he's going to do. My guess is he will move in. He has to do something.
Has to do something. January 19th. I mean, how can he not invade at this? He's got to do something. Talk about throwing in the towel. Blaming January 6th. Blaming Trump supporters. At the State of the Union, did you notice he did not mention January 6th? Now, there's something to that. You know what's going on here? That was a big speech. Tens of millions of people were watching, and they know that January 6th is a phony Beltway issue. They're using it. It's going to pay dividends, they think, for them down the road, but it doesn't play with the American people. They saw one riot, and they know about the 5,000 other riots that happened. It doesn't work. So he tries it in Wisconsin, gets less attention. They're trying it out. In the meantime, the January 6th committee, they actually didn't like that they weren't mentioned in that address the other night. So they're hitting it hard now.
The January 6th committee saying for the first time that it believes former President Donald Trump committed crimes after the 2020 election.
The House committee investigating the January 6th insurrection, laying out a potential criminal case against former President Trump.
The January 6th investigation is now saying to the judge tonight, we believe Donald Trump and his lawyer, John Eastman, were engaged in crimes.
Crimes? We're engaged in crimes. Well, it's just a committee of members of Congress. They don't have any authority to file criminal charges. That's obscured by all of those reports. Let's go through the allegations. They're very broad. They're very... The Select Committee also has a good faith basis for concluding that the president and members of his campaign engaged in a criminal conspiracy to defraud the United States. The president sought to use the vice president to manipulate the results in his favor. What else? There's a lot. The apparent objective of those efforts was to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election and declare Donald Trump the winner. In this way, the conspiracy aimed to obstruct and interfere with the proper functioning of the United States government. All right, now these sound like dramatic words. Keep in mind, this is not an indictment. This is not the Justice Department. This is a lawsuit waged by Donald Trump's own lawyer. He's the plaintiff. John Eastman is suing the committee, the January 6th committee, and they're responding in this manner. It's going to delight the swamp, but nobody else, and like everything else, it's not going to work. But in the meantime, it gives them something to talk about.
He was told by the Department of Homeland Security, by the cybersecurity agency that there was no fraud. He was told by the Justice Department repeatedly, by his own Attorney General, Bill Barr, and then repeatedly by the person who succeeded Barr as acting Attorney General, Rosen, and by Donahue, the acting Deputy Attorney General. Over and over again, there was no basis to overturn the election. He was told it by the White House.
Basically, he was told by the swamp. The entire swamp is telling him you have no case. All of those guys, swamp figures, especially the Homeland Security guy, an avowed Trump opponent. All right, we'll skip to the end.
And the fact that he was trying to obstruct the lawful function of the United States government puts this squarely under the scope of 18 U.S.C. Section 371. And I just, at this point, I just don't see how the Justice Department can pass on this.
U.S. Code, Section C, 1371. Wow. This guy lost his mind during the Steele dossier, during Russiagate, during Ukraine, and now this is the latest. This has no merit. This has no value. The January 6th committee has no value. They're just throwing around wild charges, and I can do the same thing, although they won't be as wild. So Kinzinger and Cheney, they're my least favorite. You know, they're both on this committee, and, well, we have documented that they have lied big time. Here we go.
The president could have at any moment walked those very few steps into the briefing room, gone on live television, and told his supporters who were assaulting the Capitol to stop. He could have told them to stand down. He could have told them to go home. And he failed to do so. It's hard to imagine a more significant and more serious dereliction of duty than that.
For hours we were sitting there. The president didn't say a word. The president of the United States, who runs the military, the commander-in-chief, if he says a word, things happen. To me, that was beyond the pale.
What was up with his hand going like this? Wasn't that weird? And why do they shoot him from... that was very strange. All right, so both of them lied. They did. And here's President Trump that afternoon, January 6th, saying what they said he didn't say.
We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
Pretty explicit, right? And it wasn't just this video message. He was tweeting all afternoon. No, we go home. Respect law enforcement. This is important. So Cheney and Kinzinger are swamp characters, career politicians, and they are liars, and I am going to charge them. Why not? I'm Greg Kelly, and I charge them with being liars, and I charge Adam with being a bad actor, and I charge Liz with being obnoxious. And yeah, I'm going to send a letter to some institution and file those charges. Why not? It's as meaningful as their charges, but unlike their charges, I just backed them up with evidence, So where do we go with Biden? What's going to happen next? He's in trouble. Nothing's working. Look at these poll numbers. And by the way, I don't even think they're this high. Where is he? 37%. Joe, what did you tell Vladimir Putin?
I'm not so sure he is certain what he's going to do. My guess is he will move in. He has to do something.
And he did. He invaded. And a lot of the responsibility is on you.